it is needless and trite to point out that land as a factor or a tool for economic development or economic engineering cannot be overstated. I mean, it's common knowledge that if you want to build your country, if your economy has to do well, land administration must be effective. And they say title must be indefeasible. If title is defeasible, you cannot have investors coming. And if you can have one parcel of land with multiple titles, when in the normal scheme of affairs, a parcel of land should be owned by just one interest or one person, and if title is issued, that title should be indefeasible. The work that is done at the Lands Commission affects literally all of us, and I believe that the Ghanaian people who are watching us today have varied experiences, their own personal experiences with regards to land administration in our country, whether it's at the level of traditional authority or it's at the level of institutions or enterprises or the private sector or corporate Ghana or individual citizens. We all have our own experiences of applying for title, which takes sometimes 5 years, of multiple, when you buy land, you think that you've bought an interest for value, only to realize that you bought litigation. And in many cases, when we visit the Lands Commission, we leave the Lands Commission hoping and wishing that we don't visit the Lands Commission again. From 2017 to date, the government of President Akufo-Addo has been putting in place a lot of measures and taking bold decisions to reform land administration in our country and make land administration efficient, effective, and anchored on integrity and transparent, and in a manner that serves the good people of this country. So a lot of measures is being undertaken, but a good number of them have now gotten to the stage where we think it's important we update the country. We're now taking far-reaching reforms and measures when it comes to land administration, and that's why we are gathered here this afternoon. Since 1974, Ghana has not had a spatial mapping. Since 1974. The last spatial mapping we had as a country was as far back as 1974. So we do not even have the contours of landed property in our country, so that the Lands Commission itself doesn't have a record of the various lands across our country, the demarcations, the sizes, and so on and so forth. And the impact of it, the implications of it are varied and enormous. Just this morning, the Vice President chaired a meeting in trying to come to grips with matters of the whole digital system of our country, digitizing the economy. And it became very evident that if we are not able to digitize the records of the Lands Commission and we do not have a proper spatial mapping which is fit for purpose, all of that digitization across the spectrum of our economy will be impossible. It became very glaring in our faces. And this is one of the things we are seeking to do, which is the whole digitization program, digitizing and digitalizing the records of Lands Commission and the work of Lands Commission, to make the Lands Commission up to speed and bring it up to speed and make it fit for purpose, so that citizens on top of their mobile phones can conduct searches, can apply for registration, can engage the Lands Commission, and so on and so forth. All of that is being done. The second one has to do with public lands, and this is a matter that the President has had reason to speak to and speak to forcefully, which is that the public lands of our country, as envisioned by the framers of our national constitution, continue to be the property of the Ghanaian people. The constitution is very clear on that, vested in their president for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. So how we protect the public lands of our country, and I've said it and I want to repeat it, that duty is a fiduciary duty. It requires fidelity, it requires loyalty, it requires candor, and all of the measures we are putting in place to make sure that the public lands of our country are preserved for the Ghanaian people. I mean, for instance, we are going to begin a program of taking inventory of all the public lands of our country and having a register of all the public lands of our country. So if you went to Northeast region or Northern region or whatever in our country, you will be able to tell with a click of a button that this parcel of land is public lands, and therefore in the way we manage and deal in public lands, the Ghanaian people can question them and interrogate them. There's also the bit about vested lands. And as you may be aware, the provisions of the Lands Act, the new Lands Act, which was promulgated last year, and joins the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources through the Lands Commission within 6 months after the promulgation of the Act to come up with a set of recommendations for the divesting of vested land. Work is being done on that. You'll be updated on that as well. And therefore, we are not suggesting at all that we've gotten to the point where land administration is what we all desire. But the most important thing is that we are making the requisite efforts, and we are totally determined on that, completely unflinching, and we are going to push forward with all the reforms we have to enact in the Lands Commission to give us an effective, efficient land administration which is steeped in integrity. Little interventions, which is going to make a lot of difference. I mean, one of them which excites me the most is, for instance, in Accra, they are now going to have one-stop shop where if you go to the Lands Commission, you don't have to go from one division, from title, go to valuation, from valuation you go to stool lands. And I see it in many occasions when you are driving past the Lands Commission, poor old ladies and old men with files in their armpits, crossing roads and the streets and the rest. Just that intervention will make a lot of difference. So you enter one building and you can access all the divisions of the Lands Commission. We are going to push forward, and we are going to make sure that we have an effective land administration for our country.
From 1st October, if you request for an official search from the Lands Commission, you'll be given information from all the divisions of the Lands Commission. You also have scanned copies of the report, which can be emailed to you. And today, as we speak, we have also developed a system to send your results to you via WhatsApp. This is intended to provide the public with complete and comprehensive recorded information on parcels of land. We want to avoid a situation where if you do a search in only one division, you may have a transaction which will not be disclosed in another division. You go ahead and you purchase the land, and then you may end up in litigation because there would be another transaction existing in the other section. So we want to provide you with all the information that is available so that where there's a potential litigation, you'll be in a position to avoid it.
Thank you very much. Chairman, Executive Secretary of the Commission, executives of the ministry, very big thank you to the Honorable Minister, who's also Member of Parliament for Damongo. Minister, we appreciate the leadership that you've also brought to the ministry, and the speed and the zeal, the enthusiasm with which you are executing the President's instructions so that his agenda is fulfilled for us. We thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.